Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: police officers of Reddit. What are you thinking when you see cases like George Floyd? Horrified. When you have someone in custody, you are responsible for their safety and well-being. Why don't we see police officers or departments come out and condemn things like this when they happen? I was on a police subreddit yesterday and most people seemed to agree with you, and stressing that this is less common than the media would have us believe. It was basically boiled down to, yeah, this is bad, the media jumps on it and the police are not set up to fight a PR battle with the media. I understand that argument, but when so many people agree that what happened is wrong, wouldn't it be a good move to stand up and say we do not condone this as an organization? It's a really bad look when they stay quiet or, as is the case most of time, back up the officer in question. It's like if there was a problem with mailmen stealing packages, I would expect the post office to fire them, have them arrested, and let the public know that it won't be tolerated. We see police unions support politicians for election, but we never see them come together to condemn this sort of thing. It's just a really bad look for all the good cops out there, and I wonder why they don't speak up more often. Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo is speaking and tweeting out against it. He used to be Austin's chief. I really appreciate him doing that. I have a degree in law enforcement and work in corrections in Minnesota. My thoughts are, fuck that guy. Nobody is taught to put their knee on a guy's neck and leave it there until he passes out and dies. He may as well have had his hands around the man's neck. If I were to go off the video evidence, the officer should be arrested for murder. Correction. All of them present should be arrested for murder. Edit. They actively prevented others from intervening despite being told multiple times how serious the situation was. So yes, they all are guilty. Edit. There is a difference between what they deserve and what can be reasonable proven. I get that. I speaking about what they deserve. You're right. One of the others definitely could have stepped in and took over. I have no fucking idea why they just kept him there on the ground like that after being cuffed. It's ridiculous. That's the crazy thing about this case, it couldn't be more blatant. The footage was clear, long-lasting and heart-wrenching. If there isn't hell to pay with this clear of evidence, then protests are absolutely justified. The Rodney King case had the same type of evidence and look where that went. I can't understand why, but these cops can get away with murder with a slap on the wrist euphorically. Since we're tapping into the police community here, can someone please explain what, if anything, the bystanders could have done to help George Floyd? Call 911 and report police brutality. In all seriousness, what is the preventative action here, since none of the police officers on the scene, 4 of which were physically restraining him, reacted to his being murdered right in front of them? Edit. Thank you u/murdarbimodem for this link clue. I'm adding it to my post because I think others will appreciate it and I don't want it to get lost. I hope there's an answer to this. My exact thought. If that cop was willing to kill one person, why think he wouldn't do something drastic to a bystander trying to help? Edit. Reading through replies, it seems there's no great answer. You either commit a crime yourself and risk the same fate, or you call the next level of police and hope it's not too late. I think this is an important place to start within reform. There needs to be immediate legal action that can be taken if you feel a police officer is threatening someone's life. Life is precious and we have to do better. One of the most chilling elements is they knew they were being recorded by bystanders. They felt untouchable. I was thinking about this today when I heard the audio of him pleading for air. I would like to think I shout, "Hey man, the guy can't breathe, ease off." I thought if he didn't, would I push the cop off the guy and probably get shot at worst, arrested at best, or do I watch a man die in front of me? But it's fucked up. Edit. I live in downtown La and now there are protests blocking the 101 freeway, punishing thousands of citizens that just want to go home. They are riding on hoods of cop cars and smashing windshields. People will take any opportunity to act like jackasses. What did the people on the freeway do? If anything, this will make them unsympathetic to the cause. Edit 2. Thankfully they left peacefully and nobody else got hurt. As for the people in Minneapolis taking the opportunity to loot your local businesses, especially during a pandemic, shame on you, you are the actual jackasses. You could call 911 and ask for a supervisor to go on scene. But there very well could have been a SGT on scene, since IRC there were 4 officers there already. At the minimum you called 911 and the call was recorded and noted. Even that won't do much because by the supervisor gets there the damage will have already been done. Your question points out the root of the problem. In the USA, police have ultimate omnipotent power over everything and everyone, except for judges in court. So basically, police can do whatever they want. We can't stop them while it's happening. Our only option is to let them have their way and do what they want. Then long after the fact, we have to try and fight what they did with a judge, and that's if their case even gets to court. The USA police system is broken. I want police to feel empowered to do their job and protect and keep the peace, but police should also feel restricted in that they also have to follow a code of conduct. As a citizen, I know that I better not assault an office because I will get severe punishment. Officers should know that if they feel they need to take someone's life, they better have a damn good reason. Every time an officer kills someone, they should have to explain and speak to the reason of the killing to a judge. If you're an officer and feel your life is in danger, fine, shoot him, but just know that you will need to justify that every time you do it or be charged with murder. If a police feels they need to kill someone, they better be damn sure they have good evidence to explain to the judge. Just like if someone breaks into my house. I can shoot that person, but I will have to explain myself and prove that it was necessary. Police should have to do the same every single time they kill someone. The police force needs civilian oversight, but that won't happen because but the police are going to be restricted in what they can do. As black guy, I've been asking myself this a lot. I mean, could you imagine pushing the cop off the guy, and saving Floyd's life? But then being tackled down by the cop's partner, and the best case scenario is you get arrested for assaulting an officer. Worst case scenario, they use lethal force on you in self-defense. We're damned if we do, and damned if we don't. The most demoralizing part is that the pleading that he couldn't breathe and to check his vitals immediately were ignored. Everyone knew they couldn't help him without potentially risking their own lives is heartbreaking. If you can't reason with the police, we are doomed. What are we supposed to do? They are murdering a man right in front of you and they have guns, and they are the people who are supposed to protect you. Edit, I know cops aren't here to protect us. I'm talking about public perception. Edit 2, if it wasn't abundantly clear already, a carb. Even if you had a gun, would you be willing to shoot a cop to save someone else? It makes me feel shitty to say it, but I don't think I would unless it was a family member. A post I can finally answer. Based in Scotland, I'm a police officer with 5 years service, 2 of which I have been a part-time officer safety instructor. During this training we go over retraining subjects and handcuff techniques that we use to AT. This includes all safety aspects including where to apply handcuffs, how tight they should be, ensuring the technique is done correctly and that the subject is in a controlled but safe position. Positional asphyxia is a vital topic we cover, and it is reiterated time and time again that if a subject ends up on the ground we never, and I reiterate again, never, place any sort of weight on them. Hell, even when sitting in the back of our cars, we watch them and ensure they can breathe and are in a comfortable position for transport. What these cops did was just plain stupid, disproportionate and frankly an embarrassment to policing. I'd also use disgusting if I'm honest. I just hope that people know we are not like this. Not a local, I'm a Fed. 5 years into the job. George Floyd was murdered and it's fucking disgusting. We're trained that anything involving the neck is a no-go and is considered deadly force. We were also trained that if you make an arrest in a prone position, you search and then immediately move them onto their side or a seated position because the risk of asphyxiation is so great. If a suspect says they can't breathe, believe them and take measures to correct to it. This training is reinforced at least twice a year in our use of force training. These officers deserve to spend the rest of their lives in prison. I'd put a serious tag if I were you. Removed. Now to sort by controversial and see all the failed attempts at humor mixed in with people be wrong or offensive. I'm a former police officer, and so have had plenty of training in physical restraint of individuals being arrested. There is no police academy training officers to kneel on someone's neck to subdue them, that's how you kill a person. There is extensive training on how to avoid seriously injuring a person while restraining them, and I guarantee you every one of these officers was trained to never strike a person in the neck or choke them. The officer who killed him is very clearly liable for manslaughter at the very least, and I think the other officers who stood by have some accountability as well because they knew damn well that was not how you handle a person, and should have stepped up. Here's my question. Given that this officer was actively killing a man, through an illegal use of force, what would have happened had a non-police officer stopped him? Granted, then the outcome wouldn't have killed the man and thus there would have been no death to show that the use of force was obviously excessive. But that's the part that really makes me angry. Anyone who would have tried to stop this would have been arrested on the spot for assaulting an officer, even though the officer was literally murdering another human being. Lawyer here. While the literal text of most justification/necessity defenses would apply to using force in that situation, most likely the Good Samaritan would be charged with obstruction or interference with public duties. They would then have to convince a jury that there was no other reasonable recourse short of physical force. That's a tall order and I'd be real nervous for my client. In a worst-case scenario, our hypothetical Samaritan gets tasered or shot or killed for their troubles. My thoughts. Record and verbally demand the officer stop is probably the wisest course.